Hello, everybody. Welcome, dorks and dorkettes, nerds and nerdettes. Hope you all are having a wonderful February. I am your humble host this evening for the Dorks Podcast, R. Ricky. With me, as per usual, are my fellow dorks, D for Dennis.
How's it going?
K for Kyle.
Hello.
And S for Sheen.
Howdy.
That's how you do it.
What, you a robot over there, Sheen? What was that? Howdy.
Every time.
Howdy.
Put some
Howdy,
love
y'all.
into it. It's a love month. You gotta like, hello.
Yeah. That is
Miss Goosey. Miss
Oh,
Goosey.
Miss Goosey.
a bibbidi boppity boopity.
Hey, no, that's my line.
Hey, I'm part Italian, don't you worry.
Lies.
I'm a little bit of everything, my man. But, as our good friend Kyle pointed out, today is the month of love, February, Valentine's, where so many of us are just sitting by ourselves, lonely, and, you know, I think the statistic would be like half of us here have a significant other, don't we?
Yeah, something like that.
Why am I called out?
Yeah.
Oh, because you're oh, I wanted to curse right there. I couldn't do it.
I want love. Where's the love for me?
You're
No,
not
I don't
alone.
have any.
I want love too.
Love games.
No, don't play the games with my heart.
Anyway,
Play games
how are
with
you
your
guys doing this fine day?
Good. You know, it is the month of love, so I have to deal with the love.
Yeah, you have responsibilities where I have crippling loneliness.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's not my fault. That's your fault.
Yeah.
The fluttering of the heart is from something different.
Yeah, the pounding in my chest is definitely from sodium, not love.
Yeah.
What about you, quiet little Sheen over there? Our little church mouse.
Oh. I'm a married man now, finally, so I'm all
That's right. Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Marriage bells.
Yeah.
Look at this
random marriage
loser.
bells.
good. I liked a ring. I liked it, so I put a ring.
He did.
It took him a couple of tries there.
It did.
Took
He
to
had,
the
It did.
advice of Beyonce. So, yeah.
I liked the ring. I liked the ring. I liked the ring. I liked it, so I put a ring on it.
that's fine. It didn't take him as long to say it as the actual action to do it.
That's very true.
You got it done. That's the important thing.
Yup.
Look at this guy. How is just being happy and having dreams and goals and ambitions. Loser.
You could have those if you weren't just, lame.
I'm cool. I'm
you're
too
not.
cool, in
No,
fact.
you're not. No, you're not. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself, and don't lie to me, and don't lie to your wallet.
Whoa, hold on. I never lie to my wallet.
You
It
always
knows the
lie to
truth.
your wallet.
We ain't got no money.
We ain't
I
got no
want to
money.
see the open T-shirt with the flames right now.
Never. I'll cuddle my wallet at night. How about that? Get you guys.
Doesn't
Significant
feel
others?
valid,
Pa, I have money. Except I don't.
How dare you?
You got to have money.
I have a nice wallet, kind of.
I have wallet.
Warm bagels in the microwave.
It have man called George Washington in it. And I have so many George Washingtons. I have like 5.
There's no George Washingtons in my wallet.
That's more than what I carry in my wallet.
there's nothing in my wallet. Except for insurance cards, maybe.
Man, just imagine this episode brought to you by Smart Wallet, whatever it was. I don't know.
I can't
A
remember.
Flex wallet or something. I don't even know if they're made anymore.
Halo
I haven't seen
wallet.
those
That's
for a
what it's
while.
brought to you by. The actual good wallet.
Mine is Anime Convention Wallet, brought to you by that. Overpriced by $20 wallets.
Yeah.
I have simple leather wallet that holds all my information.
I love that we're talking about wallets.
Because we're men, and this is the month of love. What else do men talk about the month of love?
Yeah,
Wallets and
we're-
money.
Wallets
And the
and
lack
money.
of having the money.
Yeah, because of reasons.
It's going somewhere for you two, but it's not going anywhere for me and Ricky.
No.
Oh, it's going somewhere for you two, but different thing, different places.
My wallet's going nowhere.
You're going nowhere.
Going nowhere. Time.
That's going to be your significant other. You're going nowhere.
Oh, that's me.
Get over here!
I got 10 minutes of playtime.
All right, if anybody in here is Macho Man Randy Savage, just me. All right. I'm just gonna say it.
Please.
Sir.
Please. You're like
I wish.
Steven Seagal now these days with the extra belly.
Hey,
Don't worry, he's got the receding hairline for it.
I do have the receding hairline.
That's very true.
I'll be 619ing over here. I'm Rey Mysterio, the little guy.
Some would say I look like Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, there's some people wrong.
I think you'd be the Kevin Hart version of Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh, no. Don't,
You know what, Kyle? You're their love child.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
They didn't want you.
I bet. That's why I'm here. Papa? Other Papa? That's where you guys are.
Papa, don't make another movie without me.
Papa, can you please stop making movies? No.
Papa, can you hear me?
Sorry, Dwayne, if you listen to this. I love some of your movies.
Oh, man.
And just
I'm dying
fuck Kevin
here.
Hart, I guess.
Yeah, no, I don't mess with that man.
Warner Brothers is making another Forrest movie starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Even more forced this time.
Oh, God, that would be horrible.
I don't want to get on to actors, but I literally had this conversation with Daryl yesterday about my feelings on Kevin Hart and like Cat Williams and some of the comedians. And I was like, I've never been a Kevin Hart fan.
Yeah, he's hit or miss. Like, I can't complain.
He's not funny. Like, I'm not sitting there like, oh, he's crap, but like, I don't know.
Look,
Not my cup of
he's
tea.
getting paid for making people laugh. It's something that I can't do. I can't bag on that much.
Oh, bro, I get paid for making people laugh, but I'm a clown.
No, you get paid for making people laugh.
I
'cause
literally
you're
didn't
short.
notice that it was Kevin Hart for Scary Movie 3.
Now that you said that, I also didn't. Oh, yeah, one of the two guys. Yeah, no, I knew that was coming up.
Yep.
How do you wake up dead?
He wake
Oh, shit, I'm
up
gonna put
dead.
that on Facebook.
You can't wake up dead and go to bed.
You can't go to bed live and wake up dead. Oh no, what was it? Go to bed dead and wake up alive. Or yeah, something. I don't know. It's been a while.
It's been too long since Scary Movie 3.
Yeah.
Been a good while. Good while.
No, it was wake up dead because you wouldn't wake up because you can't wake up dead. You're just dead.
Look at Kyle trying to
And
put
enter
logic
the
to a
clip.
comedy movie.
That'll be the end. And make it the Raymond.
The spinning chair.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I think about the spinning chairs in the back of my head every single day. I'm like, man, if only.
That's just what's in Kyle's brain.
Bro, if I saw a chair like spinning, rotating upside in the air, you better believe I'd be that fat guy and try to get in there.
Joe just accepted.
Hell yeah, look at that.
People
People would tell me, it's like, don't do it, it's dangerous. It's like, that looks like a lot of fun. I just want to know how you did it. Okay, but we're I
We're
said
getting
we're not
way
going
off
to talk about
topic.
actors, and here we are.
Yeah, way off topic.
Yeah,
You
we got a little off track, but it's fine. But yes, this fine month, just to be a little fun. We do have something planned. However, Sheen, Dennis, both of y'all are getting the fuck out of here.
Oh no, he
gonna-
cursed! Oh god.
Yeah, curse.
I've already cursed. Don't worry, we'll bleep it out later.
That's okay.
But you two are going to spend your damn day with your damn women so that me and Kyle can host this like a couple of men!
Yes,
That's true.
Totally the
We
plan.
only require men here. You two, you boys, can sit here
Boy.
and watch the house.
Mother. Oh, you're
That's
lucky I
right.
don't live near you anymore.
Come over there now. Slap you with my toe.
I'll come over there and do things to you if I was, Kyle. Don't worry. One day,
Nah.
I know where you
Don't make
live.
a girl promise.
Oh, I'm making no promises.
then.
I'm making truths and facts.
I'll go outdoors, I'll hold hands with her, and I'll go skip in the gardens.
You know what? You do that, Nancy boy.
Yeah.
Notice he's not going to touch grass.
He's not, though.
He's
As soon as he
gonna
touches,
skip.
he's going to fall over and start screeching.
Just, it burns! It burns!
But yeah, no. Go on. Get.
All right,
Go to your
fine.
asses'
I will
respective
leave. I don't
rooms.
care.
Me and Ricky are getting the heck out of here.
Y'all go have a happy Valentine's
right.
Day. Tell the girls you love them, and we love them too. And we'll keep the rest of the single people here entertained.
Yes, my lonely dorks, even if you have a significant other but you're just not with them, you will join us. Hold
will.
my hand, and I'll lead you to places I don't even know where I'm going.
You know
Hold
what?
my hand in my land.
I'm just
Hold my
gonna
hand!
leave now. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Go on, get. Kick you to your room, Sheen.
Ending credits, Dennis and Sheen will return in March.
Get
We
out of
already
here.
did. We already did that joke.
Go. Get to your room. I already opened
Skedaddle.
the door. I'll spray you. Now that the boys are gone. All right, Ricky, I got the keys. Let's get the fuck out of here. I also put the chairs in front of the doors just for, fun of it. I don't know how they're going to use the bathroom, but they'll figure that out. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, they'll sit backwards on it. It's fine.
Yeah, they will.
Now, how the hell you gonna reach the pedals?
Don't ask questions. You see these magical eyes, magical hands? You gotta just believe I have magical feet.
I don't think you have feet in this form.
Well, I also can't really reach the rearview mirror, or the side mirrors, or the steering wheel. But, I got this.
Oh, yes. But, yes, ladies and gentlemen, on this fun little road trip along with us, today we're doing something a little different. Or, we've done it before, but this is going to be a little more nerdy-oriented. We are going to be rating Monster Girls today. Specifically the ones from the series Monster Musume, if you've ever heard of it. If you haven't, it's wrapped in plastic wrap for a reason. Be wary.
Metaphorical horny bonks all around.
Metaphorical horny bonks all around. So, the basic idea of this is I have compiled a list of at least 30 of the fine liminals from the series that are very interesting if you give the series a proper chance. And Kyle will be bringing up some facts of what some of them are based on, because there are adaptations to some of these creatures that will differ from their actual representations.
Yes, so for you non-anime watchers or people who may not know what mythological creature this thing is kind of tying to, I have a little bit for that. Not too much, because a lot of them we picked out not picked out, but a lot of them in the series are pretty self-explanatory, but some may need a little bit going into.
So we're going to start off very simple. This is the first liminal that appeared in the series and is probably one of the main faces. The Lamia, which is a snake-based liminal, mostly reptilian. Some of you may remember this being under a different title of creature, which, for the sake of things, I'm not going to say it, but started with an N and ended with an Aga.
Well, actually, I was incorrect about this when we were talking about this before. This is the actual mythological creature. The Lamia is a real one from, well, they're not real, but it's from ancient Greece. It was known as basically a child eater, and it tended to not get in good favors with Zeus's wife.
Sounds about right, because isn't that basically... I know Medusa is a Gorgon, but there are, areas where she's depicted as, a Lamia-esque type of creature, isn't she?
Kind of yes and kind of no. The Gorgons are really their own thing. Then you have the Nagas, which are their own thing from a different place. And then you have the Lamias, which are their own thing. They basically, bear a child with Zeus. The wife didn't like that situation. Ended up killing the kid. In some cases made her kill the kid. And then cursed them forever for the inability to sleep and close their eyes. So,
very interesting.
Really weird, interesting story with them. But not really too much more past that. But there's a lot of creatures like that in ancient Greek that just had a bunch of weird stories behind it. Mainly Zeus caused a lot of issues.
Gotcha. Since Kyle's going to be more familiar with that general information, because he did a little research on these as we put the list together, I am much more familiar with the Musume rendition of things, so I can actually discuss the, Lamia as they are in the series. For example, Lamia here are actually all female. Their entire species is 100% female. There are no males amongst them. Hence, their culture is actually based on getting men to come to them so that they can have a brood type thing. They are very sexual.
Hey, now we're spicing things up.
Race by nature. And they will actually have... I'm trying to think of what the proper term is. It's
Are you talking about group breeding sessions?
Pretty much. I'm trying to think of what it is, because... There are some animals that will, have one male that will breed with all the females and propagate the species that way. That's kind of what they do, at least in their culture before the start of the series.
Yeah, there's, what was it? It was an insect or something that did that. It was one male, all females. And there's a few other species that's dominantly females.
Yeah, and I know, lions have the main male, but I don't think it's, one male to a whole pride, but... That's just, the first thing that came to mind. But with that kind of culture, that's kind of how they do things. Slightly a touristic kind of thing, but it's kind of to get people involved in using their bodies, their allure and stuff to, lure men in so that they can keep the species going and stuff like that. But
all about survival. Primal instinct.
Funny thing with that as well, Lamias by nature are actually cold-blooded like actual reptiles. Despite having their human halves, they are fully cold-blooded. So they can't regulate their own body temperature without outside forces, like blankets, warm water, stuff like that. And if they get too cold, then they can fall into a hibernative state or just flat out die.
You know what that means, viewers? You gotta keep her warm.
Oh, yeah. Funny thing that's also unique to them, their tail tips are very, very sensitive. They are actually able to track heat. So kind of like they kind of have predator vision when they're hunting for prey. They will shed like normal snakes, but it's a very embarrassing situation for them. They actually are able to swim pretty well, and as was demonstrated by Mia, who is the Lamia here, they actually can swim backwards by rotating their tail a certain way while in the water.
A lot more in-depth detail than anything in mythology gives. That's for sure.
Well, that's one of the benefits I love about the series is they give you these fine little details. Especially Lamias are fully carnivorous, which means they don't touch greens or anything like that, which is something that'll come up a little later with some species in that since they're carnivores, they actually have like a lesser taste bud system than other species.
And meat is meat.
Oh, yeah. All in all, I do like the Lamia species, and I love their subspecies, which we're not going to get into here. But, yeah, overall, I think they're a great start to the series to kind of introduce something that's borderline, like, human, but with the monster-ish traits.
Best of both worlds, some would say.
Overall, if I had to put them at a ranking, as, you know, we're doing here, I definitely put Lamias at an A rank.
Yeah. Because I'm coming from both sides of the coin as a reader, and I've even watched it. I have my favorites from the show, and then I'm also taking in consideration of whatever actual mythology comes up for the creature. A is okay. They're really not that bad. They're not really described as hideous creatures or anything other than eating children. Nothing really too bad about them.
I think A would be a solid place to put her.
Yeah, definitely not unattractive. And this is
No.
Valentine's Day. That's what we're after.
First ranking, Lamia's at A. Next, the next girl to pop up,
Oh, this hurts me.
Poppy, the Harpy, or Harpies in general.
I regret utterly of taking the side of mythological research. If I can just purely vote on just the girls from Monster Musume, she'd be an easy S. But oh boy, harpies and myth are not great. Not great at all.
So, which factoids do you want to start with? Musume facts or the mythological facts?
We could do Musume.
Okay. Poppy, at least her branch of the Harpy race, because there are, like I said, subspecies, but we're focusing on the main branch of it, which Poppy here is your standard Harpy. They are migratory by nature, and they just tend to go where they like to go. One thing about them, and this doesn't seem to be specifically to Poppy, but more like her species. They're kind of bird brains, and a running joke with, at least with Poppy, is whenever she takes 3 steps, she forgets what she's doing.
That goldfish brain.
Yeah, it's the brainfish of a memory. But it's kind of like when you walk into a room and you just go, why did I walk in here? That's basically what she will do. But they will, over time, kind of gain a memory hole of it. And, like, they'll remember what, quote-unquote, home is to them. They don't really like to settle down in places, because it kind of goes against their nature. But some of them are just like, no, I like this place. This is home now. This is where I come to sleep.
If it's for Poppy, she can call my place home.
And now another fun little aspect is most harpies are actually built the same way that Poppy here is. They're like flatter or more, skinny, because the way their wings are built, they need that lack of like body fat and stuff in order to fly, because they actually have hollow bones like actual birds. But that's why they're more
Petite.
Flat and stuff like that, because if they were too heavy, they wouldn't be able to fly. And it's the same thing of what happens if like their wings get wet, which is why they're very careful when they take baths, because when their wings are wet, their feathers are too heavy and they can't like get lift off.
Oh, you're telling me I can't have a romantic bird bath with Poppy? My hopes and dreams.
Well, you can. You just got to make sure they're dry before they try to fly, or they're going to faceplant.
Time to Google how to safely dry a bird woman.
Which, another fun little aspect that Poppy often shows off, harpies actually have very poor night vision, but they have a tendency to forget this fact and will fly off in the night and realize, oh, I can't see anything. That's a problem. And like actual birds, they also have trouble with glass and will fly straight into windows.
Aren't there some birds that hunt at night?
Well, yeah, those are usually built nocturnally, like owls.
Yeah. I think in general they don't have the worst night vision, though. Not as much as Poppy portrays, just being almost generally blind.
Yeah.
But then again,
Well,
I'm not a bird expert, so I have no idea.
distinct possibility. But yeah, that's pretty much it with the harpies. They're kind of migratory and stuff. Like I said, they don't stick around much, but if they find a place they call home, they will. And if you have to care for them, they are omnivorous. They can sometimes be picky eaters.
Is that it for the Musune side?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. As for the Greek side, my stuff will be short because I only grabbed and pertain to like, would you date this? Would you go out with this? Would you have intercourse with this? Basically, the romance side of it. Harpies are, in Greek and Roman mythology, absolutely hideous creatures. They primarily are birds with just faces, and that is it. So, from taking the two and splicing them together, because I have to judge on both sides, unfortunately, I couldn't put it in S because an actual harpy is just like an abomination. So
Yeah.
I would sit at A myself with her. She's a S in my heart. Poppy's a S in my heart. But actual harpies, in mythology in our world, no. God, no.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, I'd say an A would suffice.
Yeah.
Now the question is, do you rank it higher than the Lamia?
Yes.
Sure, that's not your bias.
Definitely not.
So,
Definitely.
there we go. All right. Moving right along, we have the Centaurs, and this one is actually my favorite from the Musume universe. Specifically, this girl here, Centaurea. Do you want to start with anything based on the Centaurs, or are we diving into Musume terminology?
We'll probably do Musume first because it's going to be... You have the actual lore into it, where, like I said, mine's very short. There's only a
Okay.
few of mine that actually have stuff that needs to go back into them, where a lot of these are generic mythological creatures.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Well, then I guess with centaurs, starting right off the bat, they are one of the species that has the most subspecies so far. But right off the bat, centaurs by nature are a militaristic and violent species, and they live around the art of combat. So, like, as the picture here with Centaurea, she's carrying a sword because they tend to focus more on the knightly aspect of things, at least with her branch. They are one of the few liminal species, or at least one of the more prominent liminal species, that have male and female versions, where the females, this is kind of a trend amongst Musume stuff, but the females tend to look more attractive and feminine, whereas the males tend to be more monstrous. With centaurs, it's kind of the same thing. Male centaurs tend to be, bigger, buffer, more monstrous looking. It tends to be within their, lineage that the strongest are meant to breed, propagate, because they want to keep strong centaurs going. They want to keep the strong bloodlines going and stuff like that.
I mean, that's fairly close to regular mythology, honestly, for it, because it is one of the few ones in here that do actually have, in actual, most Greek myths and stuff, everything is mainly a male. So Centaurs have actual male and female myths to them.
Yeah. A little more stuff with them. Specifically the female centaurs, also called centaurides. When it comes to combat, they tend to favor technique over the brute strength, whereas the males are more burly and muscle-bound. So the females will refine their technique, which they will show off as a pride in their art and styles of combat, like their swordsmanship, spear play, stuff like that. They hold a great pride with how they hold themselves in combat.
The jousting match was invigorating to watch.
They are polygamous, usually with one male having multiple wives. Because, like I said, they're more about keeping the species going, keeping the strong bloodline going, because they tend to serve nobility. So they want to have the best of the best available to serve their lords and stuff like that.
You hear that, my fellow dorks? That's going to be a loyal mate for life right there.
Very, very loyal. Now, compared to some of the species, centaurs tend to be the ones that have the more natural-looking hair colors. There are some outliers, but they're the ones that are the more natural-looking. Like Centaurea here has blonde hair. Some will have brown hair. But there are outliers that will have like pink or white hair, but it's not very common. They also feature horse ears, which kind of give away their mood sometimes, which is a funny little aspect. Like they'll droop down when they're kind of sad, perk up when they're happy, wiggle when they're excited, and stuff like that. Another interesting thing is they will sleep like actual horses do. They'll lay down for a standard REM cycle, but don't require the same amount of sleep as humans. They will go into a light sleep while standing or sitting. That way, if for whatever reason they're threatened or they sense any kind of danger, they can react to either subdue the enemy or run away. And their legs are actually able to lock so that if they go into this light sleep mode, they don't just like fall over.
I mean, you don't have to worry about being crushed while they're sleeping.
Yeah, and they can run very, very fast, because I believe Centaurea here was able to keep up with a motorbike.
Yeah, she was able to keep up with a Vespa. Pretty impressive.
But yeah, centaurs in general, I find to be a very fascinating species. Just like the fact that they will pride themselves on everything and actually will, like, Centaurea actually has a suit of armor that she will wear for special occasions and stuff like that.
It is pretty badass looking. I did like when she had the armor on.
Oh, yeah. Cumbersome as all hell, but it was definitely cool to see. It was also funny that they actually let her take it with her when her sword is a fake.
I mean, she can't hurt anybody with the armor, so no fault there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a replica.
Yeah. As long as she's not breaking any laws about bringing weapons in, she can have a suit of armor and a fake sword.
Oh, yeah. Your thoughts on this, Kyle?
I don't like centaurs, so they've unfortunately from Monster Musume's side, yeah, she's a good character. I like her. I would honestly put her in an A, just be with the other girls, because that's probably where the main ones really belong. But as for the mythological creature side of it, unfortunately, their lore is not as
grounded.
It's not as bountiful. There's not really a lot to it. So it was kind of back in the day, it was kind of a boring lookup. So they never did much for me.
Yeah, I think centaurs...
Oh, good.
Well, I was going to say, I think centaurs in general, at least when it comes to mythology, they're a little too widespread. Because I know there's, like, some that will depict them as noble creatures, others that will depict them as, like, savage beasts and stuff like that. Some will depict them as, like, highly spiritual. So, I think beyond the horse body with the human-esque torso, there's not too much, like, congruency between the different variations of them. At least, that's what I would say.
There's great stories on the ones that are more loyal, more war-bound, and then the ones that are kind of just more nature-esque. But it's just, like, it wasn't interesting enough to grab me. Like, they're not bad by any means, but even in going from actual myth to fairy tales and stuff that we modernized for them, they just never really seem to take off.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of cool things with centaurs, unfortunately, or centaurians.
Yeah, it all depends on their stuff, but I definitely say Musume is one of the ones that kind of handles it one of the best.
It's one of the only ones who've done it in a while. I really can't think of anything else in recent media, which Monster Musume is not recent, that's done anything with them.
No, it's definitely one of the longer ones, but we're not going to talk about the other one.
No, the other one's great. That one would get an S.
No, absolutely not. But
S tier. A tier for my vote.
I would put her in S tier, but I'm fine with an A tier. And unfortunately, that is kind of my bias towards her. With all the research that I had to do, I learned a lot about centaurs and their subspecies, so I kind of do have an affinity for the Musume versions. But I am willing to say a high A.
Yes. High A. But Poppy, that's madness. Yeah, get me back there. There you go. I'm struggling.
It's finicky.
He wasn't built for this.
But I unfortunately would say Centaurea would be above Poppy for me.
Feel
So.
about that one.
I mean, if you want to make your case.
No, I'll accept it. I got nothing really more beneficial to go on the poppy with.
All right. Then next up, the mermaid. Very classic fantasy creature.
Ariel, what are you doing here?
They're another one that kind of has a good deal of information on them, at least in the Musume series. Just because they kind of dive into their biology, which is very, very interesting. But right off the bat, these mermaids are distinct in that they have like these hip fins, which help them swim underwater, guide themselves, stuff like that. It helps them like have control as they swim for like tight turning and the like. They have the webbed fingers, which helps them with maneuvering. They have gills that are on their abdomen, which, standard thing with the gills. They act as the breathing apparatus for when they're underwater, because they actually do have lungs. It's just when they're on land, the gills are like closed up, but they still kind of have to maintain a level of moisture. Otherwise, they dry out and it can cause problems for them.
Yeah, I like the depiction that they use for mermaids for this one, honestly. It's a pretty unique one.
Oh, yeah. It definitely helps that one of the big things I love about Musume is that they seem to think about some of the stuff, like Mero here. She's on land most of the time, so how do they deal with that? They put her in a wheelchair.
No futuristic horse legs.
No futuristic horse legs. No
Damn.
need to be carried.
Oh, man. They're missing opportunities.
One aspect that I don't know if they deal with it much in other media is, like, we see Mero go into a pool in a gym, and she does fine for a while, but because it's chlorinated, it, like, gunks up her gills, and she actually can't breathe, which was kind of interesting because I don't remember too many times that was actually ever brought up.
I don't, off the top of my head, recall any show or anime that's put a mermaid in a pool. But that is what would generally happen if you put, a fish into a swimming pool. You'd be potentially killing it.
Yeah, it's just one of the aspects that I don't really remember being brought up too much because, like, The Little Mermaid, which, fun fact about the mermaids in this series, they all have a fascination with The Little Mermaid as a story, and not Disney's The Little Mermaid. I'm talking the one where she turns into sea foam. They have an obsession with that and tragic romance.
Yeah, very much into the trauma.
Yeah,
Dramatic endings and stuff.
Absolutely love it. Meryl almost drowned the main character because just like, oh, wouldn't it just be so romantic if you were to die while I tried to save you?
Yeah, not in the crazy way, gentlemen and ladies. No, she's into that, almost that era of time when us humans were into like murder porn.
Yeah,
it's almost kind of like that weird stuff.
Light level of sadism.
Yeah,
but another aspect of the mermaid, or at least in the Musume one that they kind of touched on, is they actually have something called a swim bladder, which allows them to control their buoyancy. To stay underwater or rise to the top of the water. And they are actually able to use this as like a spare air tank if they have to save somebody. Catch what that is, that's expelling the air from within that swim bladder, which means they will sink like a rock. So it's kind of a one-time use thing until they can get back above the surface of the water in order to refill that swim bladder with air.
Definitely more, well, they always have, when you can make up your own lore and stuff, definitely way more lore on them than their counterparts in our world.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if swim bladder is a thing, but let me see.
For fish, I have not the slightest idea.
Swim bladder is a dorsal, gas-filled organ in bony fish that regulates buoyancy, allowing them to maintain depth without swimming. So, yeah, it's an actual thing. Mermaids just have it.
I figured so. And they've done a lot of research to pit, like, actual animals to what they're supposed to be representing.
Oh, yeah. Other depictions of mermaids that I can think of, I know, like, Delicious in Dungeon did one, but they were more akin to sirens, or Or aren't those two kind of intrinsically linked or something like that?
In a way, yeah. Sirens are, they're not mermaids. They are their own thing. But funny enough, they have their own ties with both harpies and mermaids.
Yeah.
So either or kind of ties to a siren. But in this case, basically the Western mermaid is what this one's kind of based off of.
Yeah.
Or close to Western or European mermaid. There is just too many around the world. Mermaids, are not really tied to just one part of the world. We got Europe, we got Latin America, Asia, Africa. Each have their own kind of depiction of mermaids. They're generally always almost a 50-50 spread between there's merfolks, mermen, mermaids, but they're always tied between a fish and a human. Some are far more hideous than the other, like the ones in Japan are just basically looks like salmon with a human head. So that's terrifying and not appealing. But there is a lot that look more like what she looks like here.
Yeah. Which I think they do have that kind of distinction with the creatures in the series, because I know there's a species called fish folk, which we're not going to dive into that. But maybe another time. But yeah, overall, I do think mermaids in the Musume universe are pretty cool, pretty interesting. The design's pretty well done. Overall, though, I'd probably put Marrow and mermaids kind of at a B.
I agree the same thing. They are also kind of basic for me. I do like water creatures, so I do like them a lot, but not as much as harpies.
Yeah, solid B. Next up, we have Arachne, which, sorry for all you arachnophobes, but
You got one that looks kind of childish, so hopefully it shouldn't trigger anybody.
yeah, it's the artwork that we had.
At least a lot of people for this one, guys and girls out there, you know if this is a smash or pass or a solid, just get the hell out of here since it's a spider. A lot of people are going to be like, no, I'm not touching that.
I will say this, if it helps anybody choose, they are heavily into bondage.
Yeah. That's still a solid yikes for me, my friend.
Oh, I don't doubt it. But Arachne are another interesting thing. They're qualified as insectoid, but that's just a general kind of thing for them. Because, of course, it's the distinction of insect versus arachnid. Insectoid, but arachnid for the sake of things. They are actually very, very interesting, because, their silk is actually 5 times stronger than steel, while being twice as elastic as nylon. So it is a very strong and very versatile kind of material in general. And they can create variations of that silk to make it either more sticky, elastic, or tough, depending on the situation. So they can actually control the different, levels of their silk, which is pretty cool.
Still terrifying.
Oh, yeah. They, Rachnera here, she kind of has 6 eyes, and that can vary, depending on, the species or stuff. The normal amount is usually about 6, but they can have more, maybe a couple less. And they're actually able to see in the dark very, very well. They have an exoskeleton, so this is all very, hard and durable, but it's also very lightweight. They also possess claws at the end of their fingers, which helps them be very versatile. Rachnera here will do, what is it called when you do, the shapes with, silk or yarn and stuff like that?
Oh, I actually don't know.
I know...
You make the Eiffel Tower of basically strings and stuff.
I
forgot what it's called, honestly.
Yeah.
I've never really been able to do it.
They tend to be very good with it, because they fiddle with their silk a lot. But Rachnera has shown multiple times of just, making little web designs and stuff like that, which is, pretty cool. They actually have 2 sets of lungs, believe it or not. One set in their human torso that function like normal humans, and a set of lungs in their spider abdomen called book lungs that, all arachnids have. It absorbs oxygen into their body from the environment with the arachne without them needing to breathe in. So it's kind of like if you forget to breathe, don't worry. The book lungs have you covered.
Your butt will do it for you.
Pretty much. Another cool little aspect is they are immune to alcohol, but they will still get drunk off of caffeine. So Like, Rhaenyra here could go into a bar, drink somebody under the table, not have a problem. But you take her to Starbucks and, she's going to get handsy.
Absolutely white girl wasted
Pretty much.
on Starbucks.
Like,
no coffee date.
yeah, definitely not. They're definitely very vulnerable to, like, extreme temperatures, so heat or cold. They would be a little too extreme for them. And they also kind of need a protein-rich diet because of their silk to maintain its, like, form and elasticity and stuff like that.
I had a joke to say there, but my brain censored it for me.
You were smart enough to stop before you proceeded.
If she wasn't a spider.
So, any information on Arachne or variations of them?
Yes, but nothing really to this extent. There's really only Japan has something along the lines of them, as the Jorigumo or the Tsuchigumo. They are like they're basically shapeshifters essentially. So they're spiders that can shape into humans to kind of lure people in, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't really take this form. So no, to mythological ways, no, nothing like her. Something close that can get represented almost, but no. So she's a free one. I don't have to really judge based off of anything else other than just her, which is still a solid yikes for me. If I was, my morbid curiosity would leave me at it's only a D. Not deported, but like morbid curiosity might get me. But other than that, it's still a spider.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do like her overall. I tend to enjoy the insectoid liminals just because they're very, very fascinating to me. Because we don't see a lot of them. So I would probably put her at a B.
I'll meet in the middle for C.
Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah.
I think C would be the safest one.
I would sooner touch a mermaid than touch her. For sure.
Oh, don't worry. She'll come get you.
Oh, I'm sure of it. My nightmares.
Next up, we're going to be talking about shapeshifters.
Oh, this is a triggered one.
So
I'll let you go into it because I got a whole thing about these things.
So, in general, they're just a race of beings that can take on any form that they want to. They're referred to as shadow people, and they're not just able to change like their form, but they can actually create clothing to make things, blend in a little better. Though their true forms are unknown, they are said to be quite eldritch. They are believed to be related to a being called the Faceless God, and I love this little detail. Being one of the few races that can change at will, they feel no shame in going au naturel at all times.
Yeah, because they wouldn't. Whatever they perceive as skin or we perceive as their skin is not really their skin.
Yeah.
So whatever organs we're seeing in front of us, whether they be nude or clothed, is not real.
It's kind of like, I guess, one of the better comparisons would be like Adam and Eve before they had the concept of nudity. Because they felt no shame about it until they gained the knowledge or like morality of like, oh yeah, being buck naked, that's not good.
I guess so, because you would think the concept of that is what it is, whether it be their breast or any other phallic part on them, is like, yeah, you wouldn't have a concept that being out there is wrong.
Yeah.
But the only difference is like where Adam and Eve, perceivably being humans, would have those body parts. Whatever this creature is doesn't have those body parts. It's essentially making them.
True enough. But Doppel here has shown multiple times that she just does not care about that kind of thing and just loves to mess with people. So she'll just like form on clothing and then it's just like, oh, you're fine with that? And just whoosh, gone just to mess with people.
She's a tease.
Very much so. And that is one thing that I will say too. She is full on shapeshifter, not a doppelganger, which they kind of established doppelgangers. The main difference is they will still change form, but a doppelganger will kill whoever it takes the form of if they meet them.
Yes.
Any like lore or ecology that you can bring to the table?
Yeah, there literally is none. So how shapeshifters work in the Monster Mercenary world is not a real thing. So in any myth, in every myth, there is hundreds of shapeshifters. Vampires, werewolves, fairies, all these things have the ability to shapeshift, which is why I had to re-look into this one. Like, a lot of the ones I already knew off the top of my head, but she's one of the ones I had to look into to see if there is any myth on a shapeshifter. There just isn't, because there can't be one. Because so many other mythological creatures just naturally shapeshift. So the concept of something not having a real form, but able to take other forms, is not a real concept. The closest thing to her would be changelings, but they're closer to doppelgangers, which a true doppelganger can't really shapeshift itself either. It can only really take on the form of essentially its target.
Yeah.
So if it became me, it's gonna only be me until some lores are until I die, then it can move on to the next person, or it'll just be me forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, hers was baffling when I had to look into it. It blew my mind. It was like, they really took the concept of what creatures can do and just made it a creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not, no, there is nothing mythological wise that is just a shapeshifter in itself. It's always is something, but it has the ability to shapeshift. So
Yeah.
we will know what its true form is. It will have a gender, it will have a sex, it will have kind of a purpose, where this thing is basically just an amalgamation of matter.
Whatever it wants to be.
Yeah, it's essentially it's nothing and everything at the same time. It has no gender, no anything. It's just could become whatever it wants to.
I think that's why they define him as like eldritch.
Basically, that's the closest thing, like just being a unmattered god that can turn into whatever it wants. Which in that
And
case,
yet-
for everybody, that's a plus. You want it to be Halle Berry? You can be Halle Berry.
Yeah, just expect her to shift in the middle of it just to mess with you. She's like, oh, Halle Berry? Ron Howard.
No. Yeah, if we're going based off of her personality, like this Doppel's personality, like we're going with her and not just the shapeshifter species in that world, then that's a solid no for me. Pranksters, she's very childish, so I'd be like, I'm an adult, kind of.
Yeah.
But you always have the thing that, yeah, she literally can be anything, so if she ever got out of that personality and became more mature, then that would probably be the best relationship you'll ever be in. Because if you want to change things up, oh boy, she can do it.
I mean, I'd put her probably at a B just because of the species versatility and stuff like that, but it's heavily dependent on the personality.
I wouldn't go any higher than a B because it's both fascinating and angered me at the same time. Because looking that up, I'm like, wow, they really did just take the concept of, it's a concept and not a creature.
Oh, you're so cool, but you're frustrating!
Yeah, I guess it's not real. It's a lie.
So, B?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Alright. Next up. I think we can go a little old school here. Zombie!
Yeah, that'd be a quick one for me.
Oh, yeah. So, zombies in the Monster Musume universe. It's actually very, very interesting because they're pretty much as you would expect them to be, except they're more sentient. There is a variation of them called the early zombies before they had the means to properly preserve them. But they are, standard zombie, living dead, undead kind of thing. They have no pulse. They're effectively immortal. In a case of like Zombina here, she looks a little patchworky because she didn't quite take care of her body. So she's also very combat oriented because of her job. But zombies can actually replace their limbs and stuff. Which is, again, why she kind of looks a little mismatched, because some of those parts aren't hers originally. But they will suffer from rigor mortis, which is why they have to do stretches very frequently. Usually, especially before bed, because if they go to bed without doing it, they will actually, freeze up and suffer from rigor mortis to where somebody has to come in and help them stretch. Because they're no longer alive, they don't possess blood, and the technology currently for them they actually have a preservative fluid that acts like blood. I don't think it's like embalming fluid, but it's something very similar. It's pretty toxic to certain other species, which we'll get into. Overall, like, zombies are also very unique in that they are a liminal species that is technically not a liminal. They're modified humans because they are able to be infected by other people, but this virus is very, very, very weak and will only turn you into a zombie if you are on death's doorstep or if you are immunocompromised, like your body can't fight off the virus.
I just always think of the meme of, are you a boy or a girl? I'm dead.
Pretty much. She could staple anything she wants onto her body, so.
That's true. Put her foot on her head if she wanted to.
Yep.
I have 0 for them because it's not that there is nothing. It's just it's zombies.
Yeah.
Like Hades and French. They're the kind of the first people to start up zombie mythological lore. But basically, living dead things are all over the world. Stuff coming back to life, whether it be skeletons, animals. There's zombification in almost every part of the world. So there's nothing really to go into it. Because I'd be taken from so many different nationalities of zombies that I'm just going to treat this one as the basic modern media zombie.
Yeah.
And as for that goes, it's low on the thing for me. I've never cared for zombies.
I'd probably put it at a D. I still love the concept and the fact that they have so much to, like, put to work for them. But to say, yeah, they're great, I'd put her at a solid D.
It's a D because as much as I have the ability to do sewing patchwork, I don't want to have to keep sewing someone's hand on.
Yeah.
I'm good. Or their leg. Or if their whole this body falls to pieces, I'm just going to look down at them and be like, you know, you got yourself into the mess. You're going to have to figure it out.
About right. So, unfortunately for Zombina here, she's going to be our first D.
Oh, yeah, because Spider made her way up.
Yeah. Let's see. This one ought to be fun for you. The Mono Eye.
Are you trying to trigger me? Is that why you thought it'd be fun for me?
Oh, yeah. So, this one's going to be relatively quick. Mono Eye, and yes, the Musume calls them Mono Eye. Their main feature, the giant eye. Their eyesight is extremely good, but they have poor depth perception. They can usually see up to about 2 kilometers away without assistance. But that giant eye requires a lot of maintenance. From, like, protecting it from outside hazards like dust or dry eye kind of stuff, to making sure, the tear ducts and stuff are cleared. They're also very sensitive about the eye because, making eye contact, and I have said eye so many times in this, the script is going to be awful.
You have. That was a lot of eyes. No me's, but a lot of eyes.
More eyes than Alpha 5. Aye.
Oh, Lord. I'd rather take him. Bringing that man into this list.
But overall, they're basically just humans with a single eye.
Yes, the only thing I have to go for this is the creator of this is a madman, and how dare you trigger me by calling a Cyclops the Mono Eye is a damn Cyclops. I get it. I'm not going to go into its lore because everybody knows Greek and Roman, the 3 stories, the builders, the barbarians, and the warriors of the freaking Cyclops, so it's a Cyclops. I got nothing more than that. Screw the Mono Eye freaking anime. Call it by its name, Cyclops.
Well, the reason they did that is because they do have Cyclops as a subspecies, which we'll go into it very briefly, but the difference between it is Mono Eyes are, more human proportioned, whereas the Cyclopses tend to be larger, and they specialize with smithing and metalwork because their eye is actually able to determine, like, heat temperatures and stuff like that. So, like, in some old-fashioned fantasy things where you see a Cyclops banging away at a smithing table, that's more of what, like, a Musume Cyclops would be.
I suppose so, but it's still madness. A Cyclops is a Cyclops. Out of the 3 lores of Cyclops, I mean, they just have them doing different things. But, I mean, hey, it's nicer than seeing a giant male Cyclops, so can't really complain.
Oh,
It
trust
is
me, you
also
got...
one of the species that do also have males and females.
Oh yeah, it did get me kind of irritated because like, full disclosure, I collect the books, and I picked up the recent spin-off book, and she appears in this book a few times, and she keeps calling herself a Cyclops, and it's like, why are you going to confuse this situation?
Because
I went through all the trouble of getting this distinction.
Because the man probably forgot. Because who the hell calls these things mono-eye?
Well, it was also an anthology book, so it was different writers and artists.
Yeah, that writer and artist was correct. Good on you. But all that anger aside of the name for it, I am not the biggest fan of eye contact. I used to be, but now I don't. I tend to look at people's mouths more than their eyes. So staring that thing dead into his eye would probably cause my eyes to water. So a solid B for me.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I'd honestly put her at a C. Like, I like the concept and stuff, but it just doesn't do enough to make it interesting for me.
I mean, I'm good with C because she's just very plain, very common. There's not much. She's cute. That's all she got going for her.
Yeah, and that's kind of the downside of the mono eye is there's not too much. So I think her being below the Arachne would be a good thing.
Oof.
I mean, would you want to put her above it?
I would sooner touch her than the spider. Anyway.
What a shocker! You'd want to go. Fine, I will oblige. Mono eye goes above the Arachne.
Good.
I guess we can round up the Mon crew with the Ogre.
Ogre?
Somebody once told me.
You would fell in love with the ogre.
So, Ogre's pretty standard. Very, very large by default, usually ranging about like 3 meters or 6 feet to like 9, almost 10 feet. They are very strong, and their skin is very thick and durable. And due to like their body makeup, they have a lot of stamina.
Nice.
So they can like hold something up for an extended period of time, run for an extended period of time. They're basically built like athletes. Just some, not naming names, are a little clumsier than others.
Death by snoo.
Oh yeah, Tio here is especially affectionate towards people. So yeah, just imagine something that can break a beam, giving you the biggest loving hug that you could ever imagine.
Yes, hugs. I will. In fact, what they don't know is she's the one carrying the truck. We're not actually driving. She's just running with us. I mean, ogres are on my side of it in a lot of things as well. Greek, Japan, they have stuff in, I believe, of course, biblical aspects, French, and I think Arabian as well.
Arabian.
I said Arabian.
Arabian.
I was like, that doesn't sound right. Arabian.
Arabian night.
The only thing that's always bugged me about her is, though, she looks less like an ogre and very much like an oni. Because nothing in normal ogres really have the solid horn on their top of their head other than really onis.
Well, I can actually bring this up because onis are actually a subspecies of ogres. One of the main differentiating things is that the ogres will have, like, the horns, but they'll be, like, the same color as their skin. It's like the horns are growing under their skin. It sounds gross, but it's the best way I can put it. Whereas, like, Tio here has the horn that actually looks more like a protrusion, like a separate part of her skull.
Ah.
And onis also tend to crank in about, like, 6 feet, so...
Yeah, all I can say for this one is the myth equivalent of it is a lot bigger. Well, probably actually the same size as her. And, well, yeah, probably about the same size as her. And they're man-eaters. And I don't know if I ever read any lore about them being actual females. I think I've only ever read anything about them being males. But again, we have Fiona. So, she exists.
Yeah,
not real. Not real, but,
Somebody once told me the world was going to roll me, but, yeah, I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
How dare you? That was my line. I mean, she's a sweetheart in the show. I mean, Shrek is great. Shrek is love. Shrek is life. If this was Shrek, it'd be an easy S.
I mean, I'd honestly put her at S because she kind of, for lack of better terminology, she carries the species.
I mean, I can see the women you're into now, and I'm not going to disagree because I also like to climb the mountain. So I will accept an S. I don't really care for ogres as much, but I'm down.
I mean, if they looked like Tio, I think we would care for them.
Yeah, that's true. I'd die to Snoo Snoo.
All right, Tio is our first S tier. Congratulations, Tio, you earned
That
it.
hurts me so badly that Poppy's on the list and not an S tier.
I mean, you did it to yourself.
I did, and I regret picking up that idea because I'm like, oh boy, I already know what harpies look like.
All right. Let's see.
He's thinking.
Oh.
He's rounding it up. As he's doing that, I'm going to piss into his bottle and throw out the window. Oh, drop the bottle. Never mind.
We're gonna go for it. Behold the orc.
Oh, and you went from ogre straight to orc?
I went from ogre to orc.
Which is going to be really funny.
Yeah, it's gonna be real funny, lad. So, orcs in the Musume universe, of course, they are a species that can be both male and female, and the orc males, unfortunately, tend to get the short end of the stick in this series, because they are very often terrorists.
Hey, it's fine. We got you, ladies. Ladies like the bad boys. Some guys, too. I ain't going to judge what you like. We got both the women and the men for you this time.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, the orcs, in general, the kind of what you would normally think. Pig-like traits and stuff like that, like the one depicted here. She's got the curly tail. She's got the cloven feet. The males, you will see more prominent. They will have like a pig snout on them, with the ears looking a lot more wide and pig-like. But in general, orcs tend to be aggressive and rowdy, which unfortunately a lot of them hate the ones that do that. Male orcs tend to be like almost 6 feet, a little over 6, and the female orcs about 6 inches shorter than that, and they are often more human-like, which is mostly the case. They are speculated to be carnivorous, possibly even cannibalistic, but some reports will say they're omnivorous and will eat anything so long as it looks like food. They are, as is, with their noses, they have a strong sense of smell and can supposedly pick up scents within a kilometer of where they are, which is good for tracking stuff. Their skin color actually ranges from green, brown, and sometimes pink, more fleshy colored, like an actual pig. And they're also pretty strong, about as strong as a bear. So,
Yeah.
that's most of the info that I've got.
The funny thing about orcs, which is funny that we did it right kind of after ogres, is in actual mythological lore for us is like, I know it's Old English, European, of course, Latin, and Italian. Oh, and Roman as well, I believe.
Yeah.
They have orcs, but they're not really orcs. They're basically just also ogres. So there really isn't much actual orcs. The only people who really had an orc were kind of like the Italians, and it was a sea beast. So really orcs only became the thing they look like now because of J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
Yeah, because before that, they were mainly just like demonic sea-dwelling creatures. So it definitely a far jump from what they were to what they are now.
Went from seafood to pork.
Yes, someone was hungry. J.R.R.
Fair.
Tolkien definitely looked like he was hungry.
Looks outside, sees teacup pig. That could be an enemy.
He's like, that right there. Orc. Make it a pig.
So, I mean, in general...
yeah, we still have to vote.
Yeah. I'd probably put orcs in general as a monster species, probably C tier.
Yeah, especially in this variant with the green skin. I'm kind of good off the Martian pig look, especially I like eating pork. So, yeah, C tier will be good.
Alright. C tier, right below Recnera.
Yeah, I'd have them on the same level.
Yeah. Alright. Next up, Oh, hang on a second. Looks like Sheen's calling us.
Oh?
What are you guys talking about? I want to be involved.
No.
Come on, guys. I can be Agent S.
Babe,
Yes, babe?
what are you doing? Are you on the phone?
Maybe?
Get off! We're supposed to be leaving on a freaking date here in 10 minutes!
Damn it. You guys win this round.
Slime. Funny thing with slimes in the Musume universe, they actually weren't determined to be liminals. They were kind of like undetermined until our fine little lady Sue here showed up, and kind of broached the subject of like, yeah, slimes are monsters. So, but their general biology, they're mostly water, and they're able to absorb nearly anything that has liquid in it. They can also eat by dissolving stuff, which, funny enough, in this picture, you can see them dumping their food into her and just getting rid of waste and stuff like that. Of course, the more liquid they absorb, the larger they get, the more dehydrated they become, the smaller they get, stuff like that. They are very susceptible to low temperatures because they will actually freeze. They lack organs, so they are pretty invulnerable to most threats. They can shapeshift, they're malleable, like the small Sue here is walking through bars. They can fire off pressurized water streams. One of the fun aspects with them is they can actually read minds through the tentacles that they have on their bodies. If they make contact with somebody, they can pick up on their brain waves. And one of the more interesting things that I don't know if it's across the board in other slime lore, but they possess a core, which is their heart. So even if the physical body is destroyed, so long as the core remains intact and it's able to absorb a little bit of water, they're kind of immortal in a sense.
I mean, it goes kind of off of video game logic. Slimes are only really weak to magic, piercing damage, blunt damage. None of that does anything to them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in her case, in this lore, she would dissolve, essentially, if she went into a large body of water.
Yeah.
So, dumping her into a pool or an ocean can very well kill her.
Yeah. Because even in the book, they actually have a moment where she's dealing with salt water, and she actually wears, a wetsuit, which prevents her from, being washed away.
Yeah. As for slimes, in myth, they don't exist. Short and simple of it. It's never been a creature. But in the 20th century, believe the first entry of them was H.P. Lovecraft, and then also we had the movie The Blob, in the 1950s. So, yeah, I will luckily enough be going purely off of this because I'm not going to go off of The Blob in the movie because no one wants to touch that.
Yeah, I mean there are different variations of these slimes. One of the other aspects that I didn't touch on, but I do find fascinating, is Sue shows off. They will absorb traits of stuff they absorb. There was a scene where she's determining if plants are toxic or not, but she just eats the poison plants and it doesn't hurt her. It just makes her very vitriolic.
It takes on the essence of the water or the liquid.
Yeah, pretty much anything she absorbs, if there's a specific trait about it, she will take on some of those characteristics. Which kind of goes into their subspecies, which, again, we're not really going to talk about, but if they take in a lot of a certain thing, they can actually turn into a different kind of slime, I would assume.
Yeah, a lot of video game slime logic with her, really.
I mean, they make those generalizations pretty often. It's just oh, she's like a video game slime.
I think they kind of have to because that's literally all they got. There's nothing to background check on them lore-wise or creature-wise because they're neither.
Yeah, Dragon Quest is their main go-to.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much got it covered. I like the slimes. They're a very fascinating race. And I'm kind of happy that they are becoming slightly more prominent as the series has gone on.
I mean, she's a solid S for me. You can't lose.
Oh, yeah.
Slimes are, if they were talking about the month of love, if you want any format of just all-body pleasure, that's a slime.
Yeah, don't worry about clearing your hard drive or anything. She'll find it in your brain.
Yeah.
But the fun part is she might go along with it.
That makes her an S.
Now, does she go above Tio, or
Yes.
does she... Alright, sorry, Tio. You're below Sue.
No hesitations.
Alright, now that we have that done and Sheen's back where he belongs,
Back to your cage with you, Sheen.
well, I guess I'll ask you, Kyle. Is there anyone you want to talk about?
Yeah, you keep skipping the Doulahan. You might as well throw her out there.
Alright. Funny enough, this is another one of my favorites, the Doulahan.
Yeah, I do like the Doulahan a lot, and it's going to be a very quick one for me anyway, so it's... Get the good one out of the way.
Alright. Well, Doulahans are pretty much, as you anticipate, they're a humanoid liminal species that has the ability to take off their head, and the Doulahans in Monster Musume are very closely associated with supernatural myths, mostly akin to, like, death and stuff, hence the picture here featuring Lala with her scythe, because they are very in tune with the afterlife, able to carry spirits over, or even reap the spirits of ghosts, which we actually do get to see, which is pretty cool. They basically don't view death as a negative because of their ability to speak with spirits. So it's kind of a case of, like, death is not like an end, it's just, you know, another chapter of life, because they'll do what they're going to do with it. Some of them actually have the ability to teleport, which there'll be like a shimmer to wherever they're going to teleport to, which is pretty cool. Their heads and bodies might be kind of semi-separate things, because when the head is detached from the body will still, like, act normal, but it might differ very slightly from what the head would cause it to do. So it might just be like the fact that it can't talk, but it might be more expressive, more energetic, whereas when put together, they would be more of a laid-back unit. An interesting little fact for the Musume series, the Doulahans were actually just going to be flesh-colored with red eyes, but the creator decided, I want them to look otherworldly, so he turned their skin like blue or gray, grayish blue, and gave them, like, the black sclera with the yellow eyes to make them seem more akin to, you know, ghosts or something like that.
Yeah, it's a nice... Well, yeah, it's a nice touch, because they're not humanoid... Well, they are humanoid mythological creatures, but they're not really... They're not alive. They are spirits. They're the undead. They're not... They wouldn't look alive.
Yeah.
So the blue is a nice touch.
Now, are they linked more to Scottish or Irish?
They are Irish, and they're Irish, basically almost verbal folklore, because there's actually not much really for Doulahans.
Yeah.
There's the two variants, which is they're both Doulahans. They're both the Doulahan. There's the headless horseman Doulahan, the one that always has the headless black horse with the black knight or cloaked figure of it's holding its head, or you have the headless coachman, which is another one that people see too. A coach driver without a head. Sometimes a horse will also have a head for the coach to pull the other. Other than that, like, Doulahans, a lot of their lore is made up from the fantasy realm, rather than the folklore doesn't have really a lot of written down documentations, other than someone made poems back in the past, or some, like, stories written about them, about somebody meeting a cloaked woman who ended up turning into a Doulahan. So there's not really a lot to go off of for Doulahans, which sucks because I really like them too.
They're also, like, interesting in the idea of, like, how they're adapted, because, like, the Musume Doulahan, we talked about it, they're kind of linked to death, hence their more grayish blue skin, and they tend to carry around a scythe because they are linked to death. But then we have depictions like in, Interviews with Monster Girls, I think it's called, which also has a Doulahan, but she's basically just a regular girl, but the difference is she has, like, the spiritual flame coming from her neck, and she can't really connect her head to her body like Lala here can.
Which Lala is not actually really connecting her head, she's kind of setting it there.
Yeah,
which I think is the purpose of, like, the scarf holding into place.
Well, it's also to make it to where you can't really see the neck stump, because in the series, Mia actually looks down into the scarf and sees it's just a neck hole.
Yeah. The ghostly flame that, like, Durara and Interview with the Monster Girls does is another aspect that was more recently modernly made up. There's not a lot of mention if there's a ghostly flame, and there's really no mention for actual Dualhans. But it is a nice touch to it. They're not meant to. Yeah, they're not meant to have their heads connected any longer. They've been severed for a reason. They are there for. They basically show up at places of aristocrats and noble people who are getting ready to die, who's on death's doorstep, and they kind of just sit outside your house and wait.
Just double checking my notes here, and it does say that the head does attach, but the connection to it is like very, very weak. So I guess in that sense, it would be like a magnet or a set of magnets that have kind of lost their polarity to one another. So they'll still like pull together and they'll connect, but just like a light little flick, and that's it. It's disconnected.
Yeah, then that's where she takes a more separate approach into it. I mean, she's really pretty far from a traditional Dualhan as well, because where her spiritual connection with the river Styx and the other side is not really represented for actual Dualhans. But in the end, I mean, I'm not going to complain. Still a Dualhan.
Oh, yeah.
Not my favorite one in the anime history. I have a better one. The Durara one I like a lot more.
Yeah. Well, I will say that anytime she gets like a chapter to focus on her, I'm always excited.
She's not a bad character. Kind of a plain personality. It takes almost the same aspect of like Centaurea and the very old-fashioned talking, but I do like that they jokingly also show it translated over to what normal people would be interpreting what she's saying.
Yeah, she's basically like the edgy phase of things because she's always trying to act cool and stuff. But I also love the fact that when they figured out, oh yeah, so she's Irish, so they give her a little bit of an accent in the books.
Oh, I've never noticed that.
Yeah, like if you read it, you'll see like her manner of speak kind of is what like phonetically you would think an Irish person would sound like.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a cute little detail, but it's also funny that she's always like in the background of things, which is why when she gets focused, it's always cool. Because she's always just like, yeah, I don't need to be the focus. But anyway, getting off kilter here. Overall, I would rank a Dualahan, especially these ones, at an S tier. Because I love the concept, and I am always excited to see more of what they can do. Especially when it's in regards to other liminals, like other undead-type liminals.
I mean, I can't really say much because I haven't gone as far as you have in the books. So I don't know how much more goes into it. As far as I made into it, it's the least amount of information I've seen a Dualhan in anime series be given information. So I'm on the other side of the bridge. I like her for a Dualhan fact, so I wouldn't go like below a B, but I would put her closer into it.
Yeah, I can go with an A.
Definitely above Mia. Sorry.
Yeah, because I know you're gonna argue against putting her above Poppy, but
I will always argue Poppy.
I will let it slide.
If she goes above Poppy, she just has to go above Centaurea then.
I mean, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, then she just has to go at the top of A then.
I am fine with that.
I'm so sad.
Stop
It's
Stop
struggling. It's struggling. It's dancing.
Okay, we got it. There. She's at the top of A. You know what? Let's go with an old school one that everybody's going to be aware of. The werewolf.
Oh, yeah.
So,
A lycanthrope.
pretty much, they are known as wolfmen, wolf people, or lycanthropes. And they basically are, like you would think from most things, they're humans that can become more animalistic. One aspect of liminals is when a full moon is out, their more baser bestial instincts will take over. And this is very true for werewolves, because despite the fact that they can kind of control that bestial side, it will go a little, out of whack during the full moon. They're very good trackers, because they have a strong sense of smell. Though they can't really determine specific facts, they can get like a general idea of thing. They are also incredibly strong. We see one in the series is actually able to go toe-to-toe with, like, minotaurs, which, jumping ahead, they're cow people, which are extremely strong.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been movie lore for them, and probably old lore. I didn't see very much in the old lore about their strengths, but I mean, they're werewolves and humans. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna be strong. She's gonna be a strong girl.
Now, I'm not 100% sure if it's a case of, like, with zombies where a werewolf or were aspect, because there are different were animals, but I'm not 100% sure if, like, a werewolf can transfer stuff like via a bite or other kind of contact. But I know they can, like, breed to make more.
I think it would just depend on. They'd probably just be, well, it's a disease, so
Yeah.
it would just depend on your immunity. It would probably be just like vampires and zombies. If your good immune system is high enough, then you probably could just not be infected.
Maybe so, and that's...
But that really depends. A lot of media is like, well, you're bit. That's
Yeah.
it. You're a werewolf.
Like I said, this also depends on if it's transferred via that kind of method, because for all I know, or for all we know, werewolves are just a natural thing, because we're not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it portraying into this lore. Werewolves are just they're basic mythological creatures. Greek, Old English, Europe area. What's the lycanthrope is
Lycanthrope.
Or lycanthrope if they call, but lycanthrope. It's the disease is that, but in the disease
Lycanthropy?
Thank you. That's the disease or virus that you get that turns you into it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like it really kind of depends. Media has also changed it a lot too, where it's like you get bit, you're turned into it. So a lot of other media stuff is there's a original wolf that has the virus, which bites somebody, and then they turn into it, and those people can bite people, and that's how it can be spread essentially. Other is magic, where it's like, oh, they were cursed, and now that curse can be spread on from that person.
Like I said, to my knowledge, I don't think that's how it goes, but within the like lore of lycanthropes and werewolves, it's either like viral or magical in nature.
Yeah, that's always been the two.
But I mean, overall, from what we've got, I would put this at an A, because I do like it's a basic design, but it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, if they're more flesh-like like that, they would be a good choice for both men and women because they can be built either breeds in the actual lore. If they're more the hairy monster wolf that can stand upright, then not as much. But I'd say I can split it at A. It'd be an A or B for me.
I'd say low A.
Yeah.
So, finally, someone is under Mia.
Win this time.
You win this round, Snake. Let's go a little more mythological, shall we? The salamander.
Those words you just said don't match.
Well, there is like a great salamander in mythology, I believe, isn't there?
Europe and kinda Greek, but not really. Not in the aspect of what is portrayed right here, because salamanders were you would never see in like an upright salamander. There was no humanoid salamander. They were just either really big ass salamanders or just regular salamanders. And I know in Greek there's a poem or something written about them, how they can be controlled of fire and oils and stuff like that. Same thing with Europe. They were really lizards combined with fire, but nothing really monstrous like this. So if it was taken from the mythological side, you would be getting down and dirty with a lizard, just a flaming gecko.
Yeah, I mean, salamanders are like a subspecies of lizard folk, which we prioritize this one because there's a little more to talk about with them. They have the same traits as lizard folk, like nutrients within their tail. They're like cold-blooded and stuff, but not too much of a problem for a salamander who is constantly spewing fire, because these liminals are one of the 4 species that are like considered one of the elementals, being the salamander for fire, the undine for water, sylph, I believe it was, for air, and gnomes for earth. Salamanders, I thought this was a cool one because they are held to such high regard because of the elemental force that they are. Like Kyle mentioned, salamanders in general, when they're mythological, tend to be associated with the element of fire and stuff like that. The Pokemon Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, they're based off of the salamander. And for you Legend of Zelda fans, one of the ancient beasts is based on the salamander, the one that's crawling across the volcano. There's definitely a lot of stuff to go off of with the fire-based salamanders. But overall, I do like it, and I love she looks draconic despite being more lizard.
Yeah, for her case, if it was to be anything of what I would say she is, she's less of a salamander, especially since with the other elements you mentioned are all nymphs. So she's less of a salamander and more of a fire nymph. That's just taking a somewhat lizard form. That would be the best way if I was to describe her in mythological sense, is she's a fire nymph. Because lizard-wise, like salamanders itself, are mainly bestial.
Yeah. I think that's why she looks a little more, like, beastly with, like, the scales and stuff across her face. Because, yeah, she is meant to look more like a lizard. But overall, I think it's a good look. I love the horns, the fire kind of coming off of them, stuff like that. It's a nice touch. It definitely leans into the fact that she is the embodiment of fire.
Yeah, for the sake of this, I'll treat her more as a fire nymph rather than a salamander, because if I have to take from both sides of the things I researched, it's going to be like a deported or a D for me, because I'm not getting down for lizard, like an actual gecko. But I'll more or less treat her as a fire nymph, and if that's the case, then, I mean, that's still going to hurt a lot. It's like Finn and Fire Princess. It's just gonna burn a lot.
Oh, it burns so good.
So I'll put her at like I'd say a B, maybe a B for burning.
Yeah, I think a B would be fair.
Yeah.
I'd probably put her above. I think above the shapeshifter.
Absolutely, shapeshifters, and like, as much as I mean, she can be anything. I'm also still angry at the concept.
Well, it is what it is.
The grudge will be held.
Kyle, I think we're running low on fuel, buddy.
Ah, shit. Yeah, we have been driving in circles for a while.
Well, I guess that means that we'll have to leave it here and pick it up next time.
You go pay for the gas. I'll take care of the pumping.
Oh, good. Well, while we take care of that, hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time around. Until next time, au revoir.
Goodbye, guys.